Hello, everybody. My name is Kevin, and I have been a New York Jets fan since 1982. And the 2024 Jets, quite frankly, have been one of the most disappointing, if not the most disappointing team in the 40 plus years that I've been rooting for the Jets. Certainly from an expectation standpoint, from a standing standpoint, no, nothing will ever be worse than the 1996 team, but I'll get to that story in a minute. Let's worry about the here and now. You know, I gotta admit, after the Jets fired Robert Saleh, I was happy about it. They were 2-3. I was happy. I didn't think that he was the guy to lead the Jets to the next level, even with Aaron Rodgers coming back from that Achilles injury. So I have to be the first to admit that I was wrong, and I'm willing to admit that maybe Robert Saleh, despite his lack of coaching acumen, so to speak, the players loved him as a person and as a man, but of course, nice guys finish last. So in his case, he hasn't finished last. He is in Green Bay as a consultant, so he will make the playoffs finally. But the New York Jets, not so much. How bad of a season has it been for the New York Jets? Check a look at this right here. Madden. I bought Madden 25 right here, and I haven't bought Madden in quite a while. But I'm gonna have to do a career mode, and I'm gonna have to fix the Jets myself. And I have not done a career mode on Madden since Madden '05. Okay, we're talking. I want to say, I think Sean Alexander might have been on the cover of that, or that might be Madden '06. I don't remember exactly who. I'm gonna look it up here while I'm doing this video. I don't remember who was on the cover of Madden '05, but back then they had this QB mode, this QB vision mode. No, it was Ray Lewis, excuse me. Probably the only person that hasn't suffered, that never suffered from the Madden curse, Ray Lewis. But getting back to the here and now, back when I had Madden '05 20 years ago, they had this thing called QB vision. And so it's like this little like radar looking thing where if you could scan to where where the quarterback was, and the receiver was in that radar area, you threw it right there. If not, it was going to be an incomplete pass. So Peyton Manning's radar QB vision was like all the way around. It was even behind him. And then you had Chad Pennington's, which was like this. So you were always throwing incomplete passes. So that's how long it's been since I've done a career mode. So again, I'm going to get on here on the franchise mode, and I'm going to try to fix the New York Jets myself. And I've kind of got my own plan as to how to fix the Jets. Uh, where do we begin fixing the New York Jets? Obviously, we want Woody Johnson to sell the team. That's not going to happen. Jeff Ulbrich, a billion times worse than Robert Saleh. What is he, 1-7 since he took over? And he's basically, in a lot of ways, a carbon copy of Robert Saleh every time the Jets lose. We got to look at the tape. We got to look at the tape. We got to look at the tape. Someone needs to explain to Jeff Ulbrich that they don't use VHS tapes anymore. So instead of watching the tape, you might want to watch I don't know, the YouTube film of the game. But you got to stop watching the tape, dude. Blockbuster Video um, shut down a long time ago. With that being said, in the defense of Jeff Ulbrich, he did not want to be the coach. I don't think he's ever wanted to be a head coach. He's not head coaching material. He was thrust into that situation by Woody Johnson, firing Robert Saleh 5 games into the season. Obviously, that was the one of the turning points of this season. The Achilles injury to Jermaine Johnson. Let's not forget about that in Week 2 against Tennessee. Uh, that was kind of the beginning of the end for the defense. Woody Johnson making a mistake, which, like I said, I thought it was a good thing, but I was wrong. Uh, that was when the season basically ended for the New York Jets. So now you've got Jeff Ulbrich, basically a dead man walking. You've got and probably he'll never be a head coach in the NFL again. He definitely won't be on the Jets next season, and neither will anybody in the coaching staff. I also feel that Aaron Rodgers needs to go. He should either retire or go to another team. The Jets need to be done with him and all the drama and all the cayenne pepper and all this other stuff. Uh, can't blame it all on him. That Achilles injury, if that had not happened, who knows what would have happened last season? But it is what it is. The kicking game with Greg Zerline, the Jets lost 3 games at least because of the kicking game, but they've been in pretty much all the games except for the Arizona game. They did get blown out of the water, but Aaron Rodgers has had opportunities to win at least the Minnesota game. Couldn't execute in the crunch. The New England game that was more on the defense, which the defense the defense has been offensive. You got DJ Reed, which who I love. You've got these guys talking about they're going to be, as good a defense as the 85 Bears. I don't know what 85 Bears you're talking about. Maybe the 1885 Bears, but y'all certainly haven't been anywhere near the 1985 Bears or the 2000 Ravens or the 78 Steelers. Just pitiful. You take for example, the game against Miami last weekend, a game that they should have won, and of course, the defense capitulates. A 3-10 season, another miserable season that is about to come to a merciful end. They will probably beat Jacksonville because Jacksonville is actually just about that much worse than the Jets. But I can't hide my disappointment. I'm embarrassed. I'm frustrated. I put a good face, good front at work and anywhere else I go. I still wear my Jets gear in public, but not so much, not so much as I would like to. You have a team that if they had executed in at least 4 of those games, you're looking at a 7-6 team, and the season is completely different. But now we just have to accept again what it is. Again, Woody Johnson is not going to sell the team. Jeff Ulbrich and the entire coaching staff will be gone after the last game of the season at home against Miami. And so, despite everything, I mean, I think there is hope. I know Brees Hall is nursing a knee injury. I think the Jets need to shut him down for the year. I think I'm starting to get concerned about that knee because I think that's where the ACL tear happened a couple of years ago. So the Jets are eliminated again from the playoffs in 2024. So I think they just need to shut down Brees Hall for the season. Um, and hopefully he can get back up and running. I am encouraged by Braylon Allen, the young fourth round pick out of Texas A&M, a battering ram, having a good season. We There is hope for the offensive line. Tyron Smith, who is a Hall of Fame tackle, who spent all his career with the Cowboys, he will be gone after this year. But the young man Olaf Fashanu, I think that's how I pronounce it, the rookie from Penn State, playing very well at left tackle. And hey, we might have ourselves a new DeBrickashaw Ferguson there. John Simpson's had a good year, and then Joe Tippmann, who was I believe his second year from Wisconsin there. So that center, left guard, left tackle, I think that's good to go. Elijah Vera Tucker has stayed healthy this year, mercifully and thankfully, but the jury's kind of still out on him. And then right tackle is definitely something that we need to look at for next year. Devontae Adams, it all hinges on if the Jets bring back Aaron Rodgers next year, which they should not. So I'm not going to hold my breath as far as Devontae Adams coming back next year. He's got to be hating it. He went from the Raiders to the Jets, and what changed for Devontae Adams? Absolutely nothing. Garrett Wilson, the first Jets receiver ever to have 3 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, but he is getting frustrated. On top of the fact that Michigan keeps beating Ohio State, it seems like year after year. He's already frustrated with that. Then you're on this Jets team, and what has been a clown show, especially the last 2 years, with this whole Aaron Rodgers, which I was optimistic about myself. So I gotta eat crow on that. But we got to find a way to keep Garrett Wilson. He's the guy. He's the guy on offense, and then we got to figure out what we got to do at tight end. Where Yaboa's doing good, Jeremy Ruckert, not so much. Uh, I think whoever takes over, I think the Jets just need to concentrate on ground and pound and running the ball, just like Pittsburgh does and Baltimore has been doing for many years. Who the quarterback is going to be next year, I don't think it is Aaron Rodgers. I don't think it should be Aaron Rodgers. You might have a bridge quarterback like a Tyrod Taylor, who's a 13-year veteran. I think if you just take your chances with him next year, I mean, what are you going to do? Are you going to draft a quarterback again in the first round again and try to ruin him again and start him immediately again? I mean, that formula has not worked. So you get Tyrod Taylor, start him next season, or start another veteran um, quarterback. There's rumors that Sam Darnold is going to be a free agent. Come back. He does not need to come back to the Jets. He has not seen ghosts in Minnesota. He's fine. Um, let's think about maybe Trevor Lawrence. I don't know because of that concussion and all that. And I mean, quite frankly, he has not been the mega star, the can't miss prospect that people were expecting them to be. I remember back in 2020 when the Jets were 0 and they were 0 and 13, and everybody wanted, myself included. So I'll admit, tank for Trevor in the last year of the Adam Gase error. And what happened? They beat the Rams, and then they beat Cleveland, and then they lose to the Patriots. 2 and 14. Adam Gase gets fired. In comes Robert Saleh. I will say one thing about Adam Gase. He did hire Joe Douglas, and Joe Douglas, even though he got fired, he did make some pretty good picks. He got Brees Hall. He got Garrett Wilson. He got Jermaine Johnson II. Sauce Gardner, he's had an absolutely horrible third season. Uh, the first 2 seasons, he was All Pro AP. The only two players to ever do that in the history of the league are Micah Parsons and Lawrence Taylor. With that being said, my issue with Sauce Gardner is this. We were hoping he could be kind of the new Darrell Revis. 3 years into his career, Darrell Revis had 14 interceptions. Sauce Gardner has one interception in 3 years. That's not good enough. And now defenses are throwing to him. Now, even Darrell Revis with Revis Island and all that, people weren't throwing to him, and he was still getting all those interceptions, especially that '09 season, probably the greatest season a cornerback's ever had. I mean, he shut down T.O. He shut down Andre Johnson. He shut down Chad Johnson. He shut down Steve Smith. You name him, Darrell Revis shut him down. Uh, you don't see Sauce Gardner following the team's best receiver. So I don't think I just don't think he's as good. And if I were running the Jets, I would seriously consider moving on from Sauce Gardner and see what we can get as far as a trade, as far as picks. Um, CJ, we have no safeties, so we got to figure that out. We don't have a free safety. We don't have a strong safety. Chuck Clark has made a couple of plays here and there, and so on, but he's not it. Um, then you got to look at DJ Reed, the other corner. He's had good moments and bad moments. So do the Jets keep him? I don't know. You might have to revamp the entire secondary for next season. I think linebacker. I think the Jets are okay. Uh, they've got Quincy Williams, the brother of Quinn Williams. He's good. He's good to go. And then the emergence of Jamian Sherwood. I told people earlier this year it is time to say goodbye to CJ Mosley. CJ Mosley is out for the year. I guess he's got a neck injury, so they've got him on injured reserve. It's time to move on from CJ Mosley. He's had a good career. He's been okay. I don't he's been super with the Jets, but it's time to let go of CJ Mosley. It is Jamian Sherwood time for the Jets. So I don't think at linebacker it's too bad. I don't. As far as punting, Darren Morstead is good. The kicking game, I guess this Carlson young man is making all the field goals. So obviously got to get rid of Greg Zerline. But there's a lot of Again, another rebuild that has to happen for the New York Jets. Unfortunately, I have my thoughts as far as who the next head coach is going to be. From all the rumors, you knew Belichick was never ever going to be the New York Jets coach. Obviously, now he's at North Carolina, and so I believe Lawrence Taylor and Julius Peppers have declared they want to do another year of college eligibility. So they're going to try to play at North Carolina for Bill Belichick. John Gruden, I haven't heard anything about that in a while. I don't think that's going to happen. Um, Aaron Glenn, who is I believe he's defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, or he's a defensive coach over there with the Lions. Quite frankly, one of the best, the probably the best Jets cornerback in my lifetime as a Jets fan before Darrell Revis. If I had to pick my all-time New York Jets team, I would have Darrell Revis as one corner and Aaron Glenn as the other corner. Better than Antonio Cromartie ever was, better than Ray Mickens, better than James Hasty, better than all of them. It's Darrell Revis, and then it's Aaron Glenn. That would be my pick. I Even though he has shown a lot of interest in becoming the Jets coach, I honestly I don't think that when in the situation that we're in, um, the Jets should take a first-time head coach. They should take somebody that's got experience. So that Ben Johnson guy in Detroit, no, I don't think so. Then you've got Rex Ryan, who has a legitimate case. He did lead the Jets to two AFC Championships games back in '09 and '10. With that being said, as defensive minded as he was and as great as that defense is, I stand by what I'm about to say. Those two defenses cost the Jets those two AFC title games. It wasn't Mark Sanchez. Now, Mark Sanchez did not play spectacular in those AFC championship games, but if you watch those two AFC championship games objectively, Mark Sanchez is not the reason they lost. It was the defense. Now, my issue with Rex Ryan is what happened after those first 2 years. What did the Jets do? They got rid of Braylon Edwards, which was the first mistake, and it started going down from there. And then you get Geno Smith, couldn't get him developed, and now he's doing pretty good in Seattle. Was unable to make the playoffs, was probably on the Jets for a year too long. Brought Tim Tebow in. We saw how that worked out. Then he goes to Buffalo, doesn't take the Buffalo Bills to the playoffs. The only bright spot was that last game of the 2015 season against the Jets, where Ryan Fitzpatrick fits tragic through those five interceptions. And, that was a game that it felt like a punch in the stomach. What I'm trying to say is, and a friend of mine brought this up to me the other day. Now he's been out of coaching for like, what, 8, 9, 10 years, doing good at ESPN and what have you. Has the game passed him by? And I think that that's a legitimate thing to think about. Has the game passed him by now that he's been out of coaching? So in a lot of ways, yes, he is a Jet. I'll give him that. For those of you that don't know, his father, the late Buddy Ryan, who was the architect of the 46 defense, was the defensive coordinator of the 85 Bears, and then went on to coach the Eagles. Had some great defenses with the late Andre Waters, the late Jerome Brown, and the late great Reggie White. They had Clyde Simmons as well. They had Eric Allen on those Eagles defenses, and then Randall Cunningham. What a quarterback he was, but couldn't get the Eagles over the hump. What a lot of people don't remember, back in 1968 when the Jets won the Super Bowl three, Buddy Ryan was the defensive line coach of that team that shut down the Johnny Unitas Colts and held them to 7 points. And Buddy he was always saying that the defense won that Super Bowl, which hey, they held them to 7 points. Fair enough. So obviously, Rex Ryan understands Jets history. I'm sure as a young whippersnapper, he was at the game. With that being said, I just don't think that Rex is the guy. There is one guy though, and he's kind of an outsider at this point. It's Brian Flores. Brian Flores, who coached the Miami Dolphins. I think he was let go about 3 seasons ago. He did that whole lawsuit against the NFL alleging racial discrimination, and so I think he was out of the league for a year. And then I think. And then in 2023, Mike Tomlin brought Brian Flores in to be a defensive coach. I don't think it was defensive coordinator, but now Brian Flores is the defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings. There is your guy right there. Think about this. He won 4 Super Bowls. He was an assistant with under Bill Belichick. So there's similarities between him and Bill Belichick. For all of Bill Belichick's greatness with the 6 Super Bowls and Tom Brady and all that, the young cats don't know. Back in the mid 90s, 93, 94, 95 ish, he was the head coach of the Cleveland Browns and things didn't work out. And I think his last year with the Browns, after that, they moved to Baltimore and became the Baltimore Ravens. But before that, he was the defensive guru of the New York Giants, was on the 2 Super Bowl teams with the Giants in '86 and in 1990. So you see similarities between that. Brian Flores got basically run out of town in Miami, and the whole thing with Tua Tagovailoa, and Tagovailoa was too hard on him. That's the kind of guy the Jets need. That's the other strike against Rex Ryan, in my opinion, because people used to say he was a player's coach and all that. Right now, the Jets don't need a player's coach. They need a drill sergeant. They need a hard ass. They need a taskmaster. And from what I've heard about Brian Flores is a taskmaster. Tagovailoa was talking about how Brian Flores was too hard on him as a quarterback, and I guess Tua's feelings got hurt, and props to Tua Tagovailoa. He's doing good in Miami. Took him to the playoffs the last 2 seasons. With that being said, Tua is one hit away from never playing again, and we've all seen the videos of those concussions that he's had. He's one hit away from being carried out on a stretcher and never playing again. But I think that Brian Flores is that guy. Like I say, he's got all those Super Bowl rings from New England. He's a Bill Belichick disciple. Um, Also, he's from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised in Brooklyn. So obviously, he's going to have that New York attitude, which is going to fit right in. And and then you've got he is of Hispanic descent. He's of Honduran descent. So you've got an opportunity to have a Hispanic coach in New York, a Hispanic head coach in the NFL. Brian Flores to me is that guy. And if I start my Madden career mode and if he's on here, I'm gonna simulate the 2024 season. 2025, hey, if nothing else, I'm gonna put him on this team vicariously. I think that Brian Flores is that guy. It's not Rex Ryan, not Aaron Glenn, it's not Gruden. I'm okay with Mike Vrabel. He's gonna bring in that same level of discipline that Brian Flores would bring, and he's won some playoff games, and he took Tennessee to the AFC title game with Ryan Tannehill. I'm not opposed to Mike Rabel, but I think it would be number 3 Rex Ryan, number 2 Mike Rabel, and number 1 by a mile Brian Flores. Remember that name. Brian Flores is that dude, and I really hope that the Jets hire him and he can have whatever staff he can bring it in 2025 and hopefully right the ship. So that's it for this video. Those are my thoughts on the 2024 Jets. Uh, Instead of saying JETS Jets, I'm gonna close it out with JETS just end the season. Bye.